I now call to order the meeting of the Directors of the Bond Finance Committee of the New York State Urban Development Corporation, doing business as Empire State Development, for Tuesday, March 1, 2016. The Directors received the materials in advance of the meeting. They're free to ask questions at any time. As noted on the agenda posted on the Internet, we welcome public comment on the items on the following agenda. To ensure maximum opportunity for participation, speakers representing themselves may speak for up to 2 minutes each, and those representing groups may speak up to 4 minutes, one speaker per group. Speakers' comments may address only items considered at today's meeting. Before we begin with the substantive portion of the meeting, I would like to ask the Directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to any items on the agenda. If so, I would ask you to please make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time. We'll then be sure that you may recuse yourself from any discussion or vote with regard to that item. Hearing no response, I assume that there are no conflicts. There's one item on today's agenda. That item relates to the state personal income tax revenue bonds, and it will be presented by Rob Gottlieb. Rob.
Thank you, Derek, and good morning. This morning I'm requesting that the committee approve a resolution authorizing the sale and delivery of the New York State Urban Development Corporation personal income tax revenue bonds, general purpose, the Series 2016. As stated in the resolution, the committee is being asked to approve certain professionals in connection with this transaction and delegate the authority to certain officers and employees of the corporation to establish within certain parameters the terms of the bond sale and to take all actions deemed necessary to accomplish the final sale and delivery of the bonds. The bonds will be issued pursuant to the New York State Personal Income Tax Revenue Bond Financing Program and will be secured by a pledge of financing agreement payments made from amounts legally required to be deposited into the Revenue Bond Tax Fund. The Public Authorities Control Board approved the issuance of these bonds on October 28, 2015. Proceeds from the sale of the bonds will be used to refund certain bonds previously issued by the corporation, the New York State Housing Finance Agency, the New York State Thruway Authority, and the bonds will also refinance related cost of issuance. The bonds will be tax exempt and fixed rate, with the possibility that a small portion could be taxable, and will be issued on a negotiated basis. Retail market sales are expected to occur on Monday, March 7th, with institutional sales occurring on the following day. As required by statute, the corporation will secure the necessary controller's approval of the terms and conditions of the bond issuance prior to the execution of the bond purchase contract and the delivery of bonds. In accordance with the attached resolution, the Directors are requested to adopt the form of supplemental resolution, approve the form of the supplemental schedule, the preliminary official statement, and the official statement, and authorize the sale of the Series 2016 bonds on a negotiated basis pursuant to a contract of purchase. The committee is also being asked to approve the appointment of Bank of America Merrill Lynch as book-running lead senior manager, Citigroup Global Markets, Inc., and Samuel A. Ramirez as co-lead senior managers. The selection of these three lead underwriters was based on their response to a request for information issued by the corporation in November 2015. The RFI was issued to ESD's 13 senior managers on the board-approved slate of underwriters and requested various information and structuring suggestions on this refunding bond issue. A team of individuals from ESD Treasury and the Division of Budget, along with Public Resources Advisory Group, which is DOB's financial advisor retained on this transaction, evaluated the 13 responses, and the 3 above-mentioned underwriters were selected. In addition, the remaining senior managers and co-managers from the corporation's approved list of underwriters will be included in the underwriting syndicate. Samuel A. Ramirez is a certified MWBE firm, and along with the other MWBE underwriters, are anticipated to receive 30% of the underwriting fees on this transaction. Bank of New York Mellon will serve as trustee. Please note that by approving the Financing Committee resolution, you will be establishing $1,669,000 $685,000 as the aggregate maximum principal amount of the bonds that may be issued, establishing a maximum true interest cost of 7.5% for the bonds, and delegating to certain officers and employees the power to determine the terms of the bonds within the parameters set forth therein, including but not limited to the final aggregate principal amount of the bonds, the principal amount of each series of the bonds, the principal amount of the bonds maturing in each year, the final maturity date, which shall be no later than 30 years after the date of issuance for such bonds, and the interest rates to be borne by the bonds, and to make such changes to the related documents as he or she deems necessary and appropriate. Just to give you a little more flavor as to where the transaction is now and what we plan to take to the market next week. Right now, the transaction size is looking to be $1.3 billion. We're asking for authorization to do $1.6 billion, but in today's market conditions, we think $1.3 billion could be well received in the market. Of that $1.3 billion that we're issuing, we're going to refund $675 million of ESD bonds. We're going to refund $110 million of HFA bonds. And we're going to refund $667 million of the throughway bonds. This transaction, the way it looks right now, will save the state on a net present value savings approximately $185 million.
Because of reduced rates?
Yep. And the overall anticipated true interest cost transaction is 2.48. So we're still in a very low interest rate environment. And because of the low interest rates, we'll be getting this hefty savings for the state. What we have also done is, given the reception that we will get in the market next week, we have also identified another $300 million of New York State throughway bonds that if we find that, the transaction is getting favorable, reception from the investors, we're going to increase the issue from $1.3 billion up to $1.6 billion, but not going above what we're asking for authorization today. If we do bring it up to $1.6 billion, we will add another $20 million onto the overall savings, and we will bring the savings to the state up to about $200 million.
Very good.
Any questions?
What goes into the decision to between the 1.3 and 1.6?
Well,
what are the types of market conditions you're referencing?
Yeah, it's going to be the reception that we're going to get. We're going to be going to the retail market on Monday, and we'll see how the orders are placed on Monday, and then we'll also be talking to all the underwriters, throughout the day, and they'll be giving us their feedback as to what the conditions are in the market. So between going from Monday into Tuesday, we'll make the decision whether or not the market is in a situation to absorb the additional $300 million.
In other words, you might have to go to a higher interest rate, which you would not be interested in doing if you wanted to get rid of the other $300 million.
Yeah, not at all. No, but we still have our analysis that we'll do, and we're not going to accept any interest rate that's not going to be favorable just to get the bonds done.
Very good. Thanks. Any other questions from the directors?
Is it safe to say we're not funding projects with this? It's just a
No,
refinancing?
this is all a refunding.
Good question. So if there are no other questions, then I'll have a motion to approve. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion carries. Thank you very much. Is there any other business? No further business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Very good. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
We're done.
Thank you.